Peggy 3.
Welcome back to the Boot Room. Every week I'm joined by Darren Cross from Match Magazine, who's going to give us more expert advice on how to be a better FIFA 13 player. Now last week we looked at crossing the ball, but this week we're looking at things from a different perspective, aren't we, Darren?
Yeah, we're going to look at the best way to defend against crosses, either from open play or corners.
So what's the first thing we need to be aware of?
The first thing really is, can you stop the cross? I mean, obviously you can't if it's a corner, but if it's an open play, what can you do to stop that cross from coming in? Because that's what you need to prevent. You know, if the ball comes into the box and they've got men in there, there's a good chance they're going to score. They're not going to score from out wide. So can you keep them out there? Can you hold them up by jockeying or containing? And can you win the ball back? You know, can you get the timing right to put a tackle in? So that's the number one thing. Can you stop the cross? Yeah,
prevention is better than trying to deal with it once it's come in, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, if that doesn't work for you and they end up kicking a cross into the box, what should you be aware of then?
Yeah, so as soon as the cross does come in, you need to think about selecting the best player possible to go and defend against it. So have a look at the path of the ball and then quickly select the nearest defender using either the player change button or the right stick.
Now the right stick isn't used by a lot of people, but it gives you more control about who to select, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can precisely pick the player that you want to control rather than press LB and have the game decide the sort of movement of the control for you. So just nudge the right stick in the direction that you want to use and hopefully that will change it to that player.
So once you've selected that player, we said it before, it's about getting to the ball first, isn't it?
Yeah, so before that you just need to really get into position. So ideally you want to get between the ball and the attacker, but goal side if you can, so that if he does manage to sort of bring it down and control it, you're not completely out of the game. And then as you say, it's can you get your head or any part of your body to the ball before him? And that's where things like the left trigger and the shoot button, which we've covered before, can really help you out.
Now, the shoot button, that obviously if you're defending doesn't shoot, it clears the ball anywhere pretty much, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and that's still my preferred method of defending. Certainly on crosses, you know, as soon as the ball comes into the area, I don't want to knock that down in my own box and then try and play around with it. I want to get it out of the danger area and then get my team shape back and start again. So I use the shoot button either on its own or more often than not with left trigger, which, as we've said before, just gets your defender into the air that bit quicker and encourages him to clear it with any part of his body.
Like attacking, we're defending. We are talking about small margins of opportunity here, aren't we?
Yeah, you've got a very limited amount of time to move your player as that cross is coming in. It's really just a second or even less than that. So that's why it's important to select the right defender quickly. If you've got the wrong one selected and then you have to change players, you've lost that second of time to move into an advantageous position. So select the player as quickly as you can and immediately start to judge the flight path of the ball so that you can get to it first.
And we talked about practicing attacking with crosses and corners. I guess you can do the same with defending, yeah?
Exactly, yeah. You can go into the arena and you can set up a game as the defending team or just set up a match and practice defending. Or you can set up corners and be the defending team in that and just practice getting to the ball first, selecting the right player, moving into position, that kind of thing. So it's really useful.
So I've never actually thought about practicing defending, but I guess there is value in that, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you can keep a clean sheet in a game, then you're at an advantage straight away, really. So it's definitely worth practicing, and it's one of the areas of the game that I've spent a lot of time looking at.
Thanks for those tips, Darren. I'll take them on board and hopefully not concede as many goals from a killer cross. What are we looking at next week? Well,
I've been thinking that we've covered a lot of tips in this show, so I thought in our 25th episode it would be time to see if you've been listening, and you and I will have a game and we'll see how you get on.
Just so you know, I lost quite convincingly last time, so yeah, game on. Don't forget, you can catch Darren every week in Match Magazine. That's out on a Tuesday. Also, don't forget to check out their Facebook page. Details are on screen now. We'll see you next week on the Boot Room, where hopefully I'll win. I doubt it.